of dudes rapping, they ain't nice as me. 98% ain't lived the same type of life as me. The judge gave me life and damn, they sent me where the life is be. The level 4 with depth and fights, the type of shit they like to see. Two choices, fight or flee, I refuse to die a chump. I never been a bitch, but damn, it's scary when that riot jump. I seen dudes cry, get punked, some sexually brutalized. Knew a dude who lost his life and he was only doing 5. Year-long racial fights, but homie, all you do is ride. Lonely days and nights up in a hole, causing suicide. From the moment you arrive, you see the Mexican mafia, bulldogs and skinheads with big giant swastikas, pro-black philosophers, the BGF and Gumi, and Muslims who will murk you from the nation to the Sunni. The Northerners was loony, quick to ride up on their rivals. Even Christians went to church, hide knives up in their Bibles. Political and tribal, the Crips and Damoos, the Long Beach, the Hubs and the Dubs and the Grooves, the IEs, the Bakersfield, the Dago Pyrus, the Hustlers quick to roll, the Gangsta Crips move. Whatever click you choose, you better stick to the...
Say what's cracking, YouTube? It's your boy 16 to life, and I'm back like I'm on a parole violation. Yard down. For those of y'all that's new to my page, in 1994, I got arrested. I was eventually sentenced to 16 years plus life, and I served 24 years straight in the California prison system. Normally on my channel, I talk about things that I've seen or done in prison and things that I may have seen or done on the streets that eventually led me to prison. But I definitely don't want anybody to think that I'm condoning or endorsing that type of lifestyle. So periodically on Fridays, what I like to do is a segment that I call Free Game Friday. And I try to share a little wisdom, especially with the youth and those who still may be in the streets, in the same manner that some of my older homies shared wisdom with me and my homies were when we were in the streets, with the hope of helping us move smarter and eventually transitioning out of the streets altogether. Because we already know, man, the streets is dangerous. So let's hop right up into this video, man. So unfortunately today, I'm going to be talking about an incident where you had two young cats in New Orleans go and try to rob a small meat market / liquor store. It was a messed up situation because unfortunately they both were shot. The 16-year-old was shot and killed. The 18-year-old was shot. He, of course, had to go to the hospital, then eventually was arrested from there. So before I get into my commentary, let me show you guys this video. I don't necessarily know how much I'll be able to show due to YouTube's policy against violence. But anyway, I'll insert some and then we'll give you a little commentary after that, man. But let's check the video out.
A worker at a store in New Orleans East opens fire on two armed robbery suspects, killing one, injuring another. Just minutes ago, deputies released a photo of the surviving suspect. They say Tiani Juarez faces 4 felony counts, including armed robbery and aggravated assault. Good evening, I'm John Snell.
And I'm Meg Gatto. The NOPD says the shooter does not face charges.
Chris Joseph walks us through the surveillance video.
2 young people enter Sam's Meat Market with guns. The manager said all of the gunmen would say was cash, cash, cash. You can see one of the armed robbery suspects pointing a weapon with an extended clip at a clerk working a phone counter. At one point, the clerk grabs his own gun and shoots at the suspects. One of them, described as a juvenile, was killed in the shooting. In the video, you see the suspect still moving on the floor when the clerk returns and fires again.
Unfortunately, you see that turned into a bad situation that turned out bad for both of those young dudes. Now, obviously, where they made their first mistake was going in that liquor store trying to rob those people and taking their property. Anytime you go and try to rob a small liquor store or a small family-owned business, chances are extremely high that those guys in there have firearms on them. They're trying to protect their property. They know that it's dangerous, especially if your liquor store is in the urban community. They already know what to expect, man. If you see me working in a liquor store, you already know I'm strapped up. It's not like you going in Walmart or some large food chain establishment that may have security guards. But when you enter in those small stores, you definitely can expect them to be armed. Now, what's also dangerous about that is because unless you have went and cased this place, you have went in several times and paid extreme attention to what's going on, it may only be one worker at the counter, but they have a lot of times cameras in there. And so you may have somebody in the back watching the camera. And so while you're in there robbing the person, doing whatever you're trying to do, somebody suddenly appears out of the back and starts shooting. I'm definitely not trying to give anybody any game on robbing, right? But these dudes were rookies. They were young. And honestly, robbing stuff is something that's for professionals. And I'm gonna explain why, okay? So now let me tell you guys the dude's second mistake, because the first mistake, of course, obviously, like I said, was going in there trying to rob this establishment. The second mistake was not paying attention to, and let me just add this real quick too. Anytime you go and try to rob a small store or something like that, that's a work for juveniles or dope fiends, because 9 times out of 10, you're not going to get much money. It may be a lot of money in there only on, or maybe on check cashing day, but a lot of times that money is secured safely somewhere in the back, and you're not going to get much money out of that register. Robbing is really something for established professionals who know what they're doing, right? First of all, when they went in that store, when they approached, their first obligation was to secure the dude who was initially sitting at the counter, the dude who they was robbing. So, okay, at the least, make that dude put his hands up in the air, make him turn around so he cannot potentially get to any type of weapon that he has. You have one dude's job is to secure who's ever in there working. No matter how, if it's 2 or 3 dudes in there, then, somebody has to be securing those dudes. And that's his one and only job, is to make sure these dudes do not reach a weapon. Like I said, man, you have to make them put their hands up, turn around, or you lay them on the ground or something. And so after this dude initially runs in there, he taps on the gun. He taps his gun on the counter. He's telling the dude, "Hey, give me the money, the money, the money." First, he takes his head off and he looks back, right? First mistake right there. Because if you notice in the video, and I don't know how much of it I'll be able to play, dude was reaching in his waist or on his pocket then. So dude turns around too quickly for the dude to make a move. So the dude who is being robbed is telling them to take whatever you want, take whatever you want. So the guy has the gun pointed at him. He gets a few things, and then he walks away from the dude who's sitting at the register. When he walks away and he foolishly turns his back on a man he's just pulled the gun on. The guy is looking around. He's kind of hesitant. The guy at the cashier, he pulls the weapon. He stands up. He goes to pop it. Pop, 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 pop. It goes all bad from there. The other dude, the 18-year-old, he runs. He fires a shot or two. He gets hit. The 16-year-old falls right there. The dude at the cashier runs behind in an aisle. He comes back out a couple seconds later, and he pops the 16-year-old 2 more times, and the 16-year-old loses his life right there on the floor. Robbing is something for a team of professionals just for that reason, right? You never know, because you may have the guy secured and then somebody pops out of a back entrance or a side entrance to the store somewhere, a storeroom, they start shooting, right? So you have to go in there. You have to case that place. You have to really, really know what you're doing to hit a robbery. Like I said, you have to have somebody that's securing the people working, somebody else getting the money. But nowadays in this, no honor among thieves culture, because I would definitely believe at one time it was. But now in this particular era, these dudes who are going in there in cahoots together to rob something, if you have 3 or 4 of them, they can't secure anybody because they're too worried about one of their homeboys opening up a drawer, finding some money, stuffing it, and not telling everybody. They're too worried about the next man getting something, and they won't be able to share in the profits, right? So when you're doing a robbery with a person that you can't trust, there's definitely not going to be any unity, right? And so these dudes unfortunately, they were rookies. They didn't have any idea or any clue of what they was doing, because while the one dude has his gun and he's robbing the dude, I can't even tell what the 18-year-old is doing. I don't know if he's looking around or whatever, but like I said, man, one dude has to secure the cashier, make him have his hands up, turn around. The other dude, if there's only one person in there, then you get the money, you get the valuables or whatever you're trying to do. You never know if somebody's in the back room. So it's just a situation that went all bad for these 2 dudes, man. Unfortunately, the 16-year-old lost his life. And that's why it's always best to get your own bread, man. When you go and you try to rob somebody, you have to act as if that person is armed. You have to secure that person. You have to make sure that person doesn't have any chance to get a weapon, At the least, like I said, you make him put his hands up. Or, also, while you got his hands up, your buddy can maybe go pat him down for weapons. It's just an unfortunate situation, man. When you pull a gun on somebody, you got to always act as if that person is armed. And that's why, I was taught you never pull a gun on a person if you're not going to shoot them. So robbery was never my thing. Just being in the streets, being around criminals. I know dudes who did go and do robberies, and then the common sense of being in the street gives me a little knowledge about how a robbery should be done, right? But I'm not just to go shoot a person. I'm not just to go rob a person and then shoot him, because if you rob somebody, you have to pull a gun on him, and then by my belief system, if you pull a gun on somebody, you have to shoot him. So to me, I already know that's wrong. I'm not robbing nobody, and I'm not killing him behind no change, because in California, a robbery and a murder is potentially the death penalty, if not life without. The reward is just not worth the risk. So, that's out, man. I'll sell some dope before I go, rob somebody and kill them for a few dollars, And these dudes didn't understand that, and unfortunately, their lack of knowledge cost them their lives. Anyway, though, you already know what it is. It's your boy 16 to life, man. Stay smart. Stay out the streets. It gets ugly, You already know what time it is, though. Resume normal program.